The Thousand Symphonies by Dick Higgins is a portion of compositional paper, so staff paper, music paper that the composers would write on, that has been shot with a machine gun at a rifle range. The bullet holes became the notes that would be played by an orchestra. The original orchestra performance of A Thousand Symphonies was conducted by Philip Corner at Douglas College, the women's residential college at Rutgers. The element of chance is represented here by the unpredictable placements of the bullet holes, as well as, to a smaller extent, the decisions made by the conductor when the piece was performed. Music was an element of futurist and Dadaist work and had an obvious influence on this piece. So, the Thousand Symphonies. So bullets going through, a piece of staff paper. That's kind of that. That's not really an example of danger music or dangerous music. I could talk about that a little bit. Danger music, as really started, instigated by Dick Higgins, who's a composer of sorts and a multimedia artist or intermedia artist. He really set the stage for this idea, danger music. As the name sounds, it's music that's dangerous to listen to. It's art that's dangerous to behold. It involves danger, whether it is the mutilation of an object like an instrument, or even the mutilation or humiliation or mortification of someone, really disrupting the psychology of people. Now, I come across this time and time again where I do have artists disagree with me on my philosophy of art. And when they do, a lot of their comments are, you got to provoke the person. You got to make them think. You got to make them uncomfortable. You got to make them see and accept the ugly. And this comes from this idea of disrupting someone's psychology in the way of dangerous music or dangerous art. Now, dangerous music, an example would be, people signing a waiver before they go into the concert hall. I would never do this. Go into the concert hall after they've signed a waiver and be prepared to listen to noise that might not be, but could be cranked up to a deafening decibel level. So danger music in the literal sense. And this is Dick Higgins with this machine gun, shooting at the staff paper. Now, the machine gun in and of itself is not dangerous because the score is what's being mutilated and then given to the conductor and the orchestra to play. So it's chance music seen and executed by the conductor orchestra, to give to the audience. So you're not in any psychological or physical danger. Your ears and your hearing, your health is not in danger when listening to an orchestra piece, a chance piece that involves a score that's been, just ripped apart by a machine gun. That's not danger music, but that's kind of the example of the extreme. Dick Higgins was the example of the extreme. So anything involving the mutilation of maybe, let's say it's a guitar, for instance. Let's say a performer has a guitar as their object of the performance, and then they'll use a tool to break the strings, or they'll smash the belly of the guitar. And this isn't, and I'm not talking about the theatrical smashing of the guitar of a rocker or a rock artist. I'm talking about actually just as a performance art, just being brutal to an object like a musical instrument, because the musical instrument is actually a sign of craftsmanship. It's a sign of dedication and work and love and attention. It's kind of like a sculpture. The musical instrument, especially a really well-built instrument like a violin or any instrument that is a really expensive instrument, that as an instrumentalist that there's so much love and craftsmanship and ear and eye that goes into a very good build of an instrument. So the idea of dangerous music is to subject that instrument to bodily harm. By the same token, for the viewer, you could run the risk of being humiliated in front of people. You could be it could be as light as being, the butt of the joke, or you could be confronted. Not I wouldn't say, I mean, maybe there's been a case of violence, I wouldn't suppose, but it'd be, some performer, who gets into your face, like, I really want to make you uncomfortable how close I am to you. So it could be a suggestive, bodily, like, performer's body, pressed against yours, so you're supposed to feel inhibited bodily, physically, or psychologically, or as far as your ears are concerned, you could lose your hearing. Like there's that chance that the artist would really want to ramp up noise at a deafening decibel level. To that I say no thanks. I mean, the concept's interesting, but it's not worth losing my hearing for. so so that's the idea of danger music, and that was Dick Higgins. I remember a composer, a doctor. I couldn't remember if he was a master's or a doctor at the time. He was a strange person. He was fine. He was friends of friends of mine, and I was never really an acquaintance of his. But there was one time he had a quadraphonic system, a fixed media piece for electronic music, and the second time I heard his performance, I knew to plug my ears. But the first time I heard his piece, whatever it was called, it was white noise, which is a very harsh distribution of frequency. It was white noise blaring at you from four corners of the hall. And if you're in the sweet spot, you were doubly assaulted, because if you're in the sweet spot, you're taking in everything of the quadraphonic space. I remember sitting near the sweet spot. I can't remember if I was in the sweet spot or not, but I remember that first moment of his blaring white noise into the hall. I remember being so angry because it was to shock you. But if you think about it, like even as a composer, as a sound artist, as he probably thought he was, you don't damage someone's ears like that. It really hurt the ears. Well, at least I remember. Maybe it was softer than I remembered, but I remember being assaulted. Yeah. I remember also a clarinetist. I didn't know who he was, but he played clarinet so loudly and so abrasively through filtered electronics that there was actually a sound beating. He was doing multiphonics, which through a lot of air, a lot of fast air produces many frequencies, not just one tone, but many tones at different partials from the fundamental pitch at such an amplitude that there was an actual beating of partials that caused the eardrums to do this. It was actually assaulting the senses. And half of us in this concert hall, we held our ears. We held our ears for the full performance, and we clapped because it was actually, he was a good performer. He was a good performer, but it actually caused our eardrums to go back and forth like this. It was the same effect as if a child was screaming in your ear. That's the effect it had on your eardrums. And I remember after we kind of clapped like this and stuff, when he was done, there was an older man. He was like in his 70s, and he stood up and he said to all of us, he's like, "I'm 70 years old, and I didn't stop my ears. I didn't plug my ears. I got the whole experience of that performance. You don't need to plug your ears." Like, first of all, I'm a musician. Second of all, I'm a composer. Third of all, if you are in your 70s, chances are you're hard of hearing anyway, in some capacity. I have very healthy hearing. I still have very healthy hearing. And I remember a college girl and I just talking about that moment in our library jobs the following day or the following week. It was weird. It was, but for a sound artist or even a musician to feel it's okay to assault your senses like that, I don't condone violence, but if someone is about to harm you physically, about to assault your senses, you have the right to push back for your own protection. And I kind of felt like punching someone in the head after being assaulted like that. I know that's not Christian, but that's how dramatic it was.